Most men, like yourself, find themselves stuck in the drinking cycle because you go to work, you say to yourself, fucking got my shit together day by day. You perform, you dance like the monkey that you are. You do the work, but you come home and grab your bottle, the bottle of relief. That's how I lived my life year after decade, until I couldn't do it anymore, until something had to change. Till I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize the man that I was, and I didn't recognize the man that I had become. I knew I had to do something different. Didn't know what. Didn't know how. The only thing I had was hope. And the idea that something needed to be different. Somehow I had to change. And I want to talk about the escape trap most people use. The first port of call that men seem to go to, or people seem to go to when they're battling the old bottle. And that's AA. And I don't want to go make this anti-AA by any means. It's just about being pro-men, pro-truth, pro-leadership, and pro-masculine power, because when you go to AA, you have to stand up and call yourself an alcoholic. Hi, I'm Jason, I'm an alcoholic. You know what that does? It wires your brain, changes your identity, reinforces the shame. And the danger of that, repeating the label over and over and over and over again in front of people, and saying that you're powerless over alcohol, saying that this repetition, that your identity is going to follow the language that you're using. You get up and you wire your story, the story of your life, the story of your journey into addiction, your story of your path of destruction. You wire it with the identity of being an alcoholic, being broken, being powerless, and standing there knowing that this is the only solution, the only way to be free from the fuckery. So some men can get up and give up their power. Some men can do that night after night and give their power to a higher power of some description. But some men can't. And if you can't, and that's the only solution that's offered, what are you supposed to do? Who are you supposed to turn to? And how are you going to escape the fucking nightmare? I don't believe that I'm powerless over anything. I have choice. I have control. I have the ability to do or do not do something. Alcohol has no power over me, only the power that I give it. It is a liquid. It is a poison. Just like I'm not powerless over drinking bleach. It's probably not a good idea. I don't ever get the urge to do that. And if I do, please assist me. But I used to go to AA myself. And like I said, I don't want to shit on AA because AA helps a lot of people and AA has a lot of things going for it. But going up every night, standing up and really reinforcing the identity of powerlessness over alcohol, really, it dilutes your ability to take ownership of your life, to take responsibility and to be the man that you are. Because ultimately, you're not broken. If you get up and say, oh, fuck, I'm broken, powerlessness, and I have no power, and the only thing that I can do is go to AA and tell everyone what a piece of shit that I am night after night, that does something to your brain. It reminds you of the reasons why you don't drink, because that's important too. But if you're identifying as someone that's powerless, someone that's broken, and someone that's unable to control their own choices and control their own lives and take responsibility for their life, that's going to shape your identity. And not only shape your identity when it comes to addiction and when shaping your identity when it comes to alcohol, but also can seep into other parts of your life. Because if you're standing and saying that you have no power, if you're powerless and that you have no choice in certain things, don't you think that that's going to somehow change your identity, change your belief about yourself? But the truth is, the moment, really my life changed is when I realized that no one was coming to save me, no matter what happened in my life up until that point. And I'm responsible to get myself out of it. It's easy to lie there and go, please, I wish someone would change. Oh, I wish I was help. I wish and I hope and all that. But the truth is, most people are stuck in their own problems. Most people don't give a fuck about what we're going through. And most of the time, it's up to us. And as men, we've got to be leaders. We've got to lead our lives. We've got to lead our families, and we've got to lead ourselves. But with AA, the system's outdated anyway. It was built in the 1930s, before trauma science, before fucking neurobiology and identity theory. So just so much has changed when it comes to habits and learning about addiction and just learning about things in general. Would you go to a doctor and be treated by a doctor in 1930s? Or would you like to, 100 years later, be treated by a doctor with 100 years more knowledge? And you've got to remember that the speed from 10 years, 100 years ago, in terms of technology, in terms of knowledge, in terms of wealth of knowledge, in terms of the availability of knowledge, 10 years or 100 years ago, 10 years was a long time, or not a long time for change. But now, technology and the knowledge, the wisdom is growing so fast. 1 year can be the same, can really be the difference between black and white. 1 week, things can change so quickly now. So we're relying on old technology, old thoughts, and this, and like I said, does have some good points, does have the ability to help people, but at what cost? And you don't want to give up your identity as, and you don't want to form your identity as someone who's powerless, that needs to go to a meeting, stand up in front of people and say that you're powerless and you're weak and you're broken and you're an alcoholic, because you're not a fucking alcoholic. You're someone who drank, and it's an identity label that isn't based on fact. The closest thing that would be fact would be is you've got an alcohol use disorder rather than being an alcoholic. And AA has a low success rate, 5 to 10%, and people will argue that, oh no, well that's only for the people that go to it and all that. Whether it's the people that go to it or not, or it has a low success rate, really. And if it worked, if it was good, people would go all the time. I guess the only benefit, or the only, well, there's lots of benefits, but the main benefit is that it's everywhere and it's free. And there's people out there that will support you, and it has some community aspect, then some brotherhood aspect, and that is the most important thing when it comes to sobriety. But also, if you have to give your identity up and give your identity as someone who's powerless, that's a big price to fucking pay. And also, relying on meetings after day, getting up, fucking standing there for an hour, listening to the fucking slime and listening to the misery, listening to the pain that alcohol causes, is not going to inspire you to live a good life, not going to inspire you to fucking be great. Because what works for some people can become a cage for others. And what actually does work, when you think about it, is having a clear structure, clear accountability, and brotherhood. So these are the things. So AA has the brotherhood and the community, which can be the most important part. But you also need a structure. You also need a thought behind that, changing your identity and becoming someone that doesn't drink rather than someone who's an alcoholic and can't drink. There's a big fucking difference between somebody who's powerless over alcohol and is an alcoholic to someone that doesn't drink and someone who chooses not to, someone who doesn't need to drink. Slight variation, but massive mental shift. And that's why we've got the sober switch in place, which is the 3-phase comfort, rewire, and lead. And this helps us to use the tools and change our identity, change our rituals, improve our integrity, and then we transform. We don't just transform our mind, we transform our heart, and we transform everything that we believe. And then we use those personal wins to rebuild who we are. You learn to build that self-trust so that you're no longer white-knuckling it. You're no longer fucking going through the day just hoping that you don't drink. Saying to yourself, oh, it's fucking not tonight. Finding yourself sitting at the front of the bottle shop, hoping, wanting anything to happen so that you don't have to go in and buy a glass of poison. Most men fail by themselves because they need a brotherhood. They need a structure, and they need a community, and they need a code. It's not about finding what's wrong with you. It's not about talking about all the things that you've done. It's about having a masculine step-by-step process to just go, do this and this happens, do this, one after the other, and show up for yourself day after day. This is what makes the Sober Switch different, because we're a brotherhood. We're not sponsors. We don't have shame, and you're not tying yourself to a meeting for life where you got to stand up and tell everyone what a piece of shit you are. Because it's a mission to change your life, to change your identity and change who you are as a person, as a man, so that you can stand up, so you can stand forward, so you can step into the person that you were born to be, the man that you are, the man that you're going to be. Because I know for myself, I tried everything. Tried rehabs, 100 grand, tried hypnotherapy, tried psychotherapy, tried physiotherapy, tried witch doctors, tried, I don't know. If there was anything, I'd try it. Because if you were like me, you're looking outside of yourself, you're looking for the solution to the problem that's fucking up here, and you'll never find it. You can't find a solution to a problem that you've created anywhere else but in here. The solution's in your head, the solution's in your mind, the solution's by your choices. And what happens? I guess when you're so fucking fed up, so tired of living the nightmare over and over and over again, you'll do anything to escape it, but you won't do the one thing that will help you escape, which is to take ownership of your choices, take responsibility for the things that you will do, and fucking do something different. And it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to be real fucking simple. You don't drink, and then you do the process after day. There's no magic cure, although when you look online, there's tablets for every day of the week that you can buy that'll cure everything. There's naltrexone, there's amparosate, which is Campril. There's, what else? There's Antibuse. So these things are tools, but they're not the solution. There's Valium. There's lots of different things that you can take. Like I said, they're tools. They're not the solution. The solution is going through the door, flicking the sober switch, flicking your mind, taking responsibility for your life, and then fucking doing the work, showing up for yourself after a day. Because you don't want to believe that you can just stop drinking, because if it was that fucking easy, why haven't you done it up until now? If it was just a matter of not drinking, what does that say about you? It says, you think, well, fuck, am I an idiot? You're not an idiot. You just haven't thought of the solution that's so fucking, I guess, this is so fucking obvious that you can't even see it. Or if you have thought of that solution, you can't believe that it can be that easy. There has to be another way. But the only way you can stop drinking is by not drinking. Everything else is just window dressing, because if you just stop drinking, you can't be an alcoholic. If you just stop drinking, you can't get drunk. But you think, well, it can't be that easy. But it is. Or should I say simple, not easy. The hard part is learning to live without alcohol. The hard part is changing your identity and going through that, the abyss, going through to the other side where you've got to face your fucking demons. And that can be scary too. That's why you need a brotherhood of people that will hold your hand, walk with you, and not only have knowledge to share with you, but hold the space for you to hold you accountable to fucking keep going when fucking things get tough, because that can be just as important as having the answers. So I just want to invite you, if you've tried everything, I want to invite you to go download the Sober Switch roadmap, go to kickthepiss.com, or join us to your road to freedom, because you're not here to cope. You're here to fucking lead your life. My name's Jason, and I'm from kickthepiss.com.